Swedish Lapland is about 1 hour by plane from Stockholm. Sweden's answer to the Canadian wilderness, but more accessible to the visitor. In Swedish Lapland, you don't need to fly to any of the fishing venues. Driving conditions are excellent, with very little traffic. On many occasions you will drive many miles without seeing another motorist, though you will see the reindeer. Swedish Lapland is starting to become known among anglers for its great fishing. During the year 2001, this region hosted the 21st World Fly Fishing Championship. Fly fishermen from 22 nations joined this event to have a good time among friends from all over the world. And at the same time, test their skills in a catch and release competition. The teams have fished all over the world, but for the majority of the teams, this was the first time ever in Sweden, let alone Swedish Lapland. One of the many profiles who joined this event was the English team captain Chris Ogburn.
You're the team captain for England. You've been over here a week practising. What has it been like?
It's been a very full week, Martin. We've actually had 6 full days of practice, and we've got a huge amount of information coming in. The variety here of fishing is like I've never experienced before. I think everyone comes with preconceived ideas to a new venue, and I thought this was going to be, if you'll forgive me, just another Nordic venue, a little bit like Norway, a little bit like Finland. It's not a bit like those venues. It's absolutely superb. The variety of fishing, much more than we expected. If I tell you that our first team meeting on the first evening, which was really just a warm-up day, you'd normally expect on a World Championships to have half a dozen flies on the table. We had 36 flies on the table. There's that many fish in the waters. It is lovely. It's full of variety. It's a great challenge, but we've had a great practice session and we are ready. I think Swedish Lapland is fabulous. I think the environment here is stunning. I've been watching, my bird watching is one of my loves in life. I've seen loons this week, siskins, I've seen woodpeckers I couldn't tell you about. Absolutely beautiful environment. Waters are clean, no pollution. We go down to the town centre here in the middle of Luxley, one of the biggest towns in the region. There's a village pond there. Now sadly in some towns in England that will be full of crisp packets, cigarette wrappers, you name it. Over here it's not, it's clean. You get out into the environment, the guides are out there picking up cigarette butts because they don't want anything left behind. I think it's tread softly, leave no mark. That's the philosophy over here, and our team has been instructed to adhere strictly to that. It is a beautiful environment, great variety of fishing. Anybody who's not been to Swedish Lapland should try it because it's absolutely stunning. I think full credit to the Swedes, to the organisers. We're going to have a great championship this year.
The World Fly Fishing Championship took place in 3 wild rivers and 2 lakes, from the big and roaring Vindelälven to the smaller rivers Marlån and Skeppträskån that were hidden deep down in the forest. Targeted species were grayling, trout and whitefish. The wild and rocky character of the rivers was maybe a surprise for some of the competitors, who invented some new river dance steps in the hunt for victory. If the pressure became too much, the competitors always had the chance to cool themselves off by having a drink of water directly from the clean rivers. Even if most of the teams were from Europe, there were also some long-distance travellers, for example the Australian team.
Craig Coltman, you're the Australian Fly Fish Australia team captain. You're over here in Swedish Lapland. How is your practice sessions gone?
Very well. No blanks, so everyone's caught fish in every session while we've been practising. The rivers are difficult for us because this is so different to what we're used to at home, but we're catching, and we're catching very well in the lakes, so I'm happy with that so far.
How different is Swedish Lapland to Australia for its fishing?
Well, it's as different as chalk and cheese. I mean, they've got water. There is water everywhere. Here at home, well, back in my state of Victoria, we're still in drought. The fishing is completely different. For a start, we don't have grayling. And grayling, of course, in the rivers are the target species. And this short line Polish nymphing we just don't do it at home in our wild browns. If we walked closer than 20 feet to a brown, he'd be gone. But you can stand on these things' tails and they'll take the nymph. So it's completely different.
And how do you find the people?
Fabulous. So we've had a marvellous time, and I want to come back with my wife. It's great fun here.
The coast of Swedish Lapland has the most salmon rivers in Sweden. In fact, for every hour you drive along the coast, you will pass at least one, but most probably two, salmon rivers. The best rivers for the fly fishermen are the Biscaelv, Rikleån, Lugdeälven, with the vast mountain river Vindelälven as a very fast upcomer. The rumour of the salmon and sea trout in Swedish Lapland is starting to spread all over Europe. One reason is that the Baltic salmon are free from, for example, fish farm-related diseases such as the parasite Gyrodactylus. The fishing industry has earlier been a problem for the Baltic salmon. But governmental regulations during the last decade, combined with a cleaner environment in the Baltic Sea, have made the salmon return to Lapland in numbers that you have to go back a long way in history to see. These aren't our words, but come from foreigners that have tried the pike in the Baltic Sea, by the coast, and in the large number of lakes and rivers that you will find in the forest region. One of the foreigners that frequently visit Swedish Lapland for the chance to get the big one on a fly rod is Martin James, an English BBC broadcaster. This part of the world gives him frequent opportunities to try out his skill against the perfectly shaped predator that dwells in the vegetation. In the river Örån, Martin soon found out that English pike flies work perfectly in Lapland.
There we are. There's the fly. A red-tailed rat. What's he, 4 kilo?
One of the greatest things with pike fishing in Lapland is the wide variety of waters you can explore, mostly without seeing anyone except maybe your local guide.
Did you get that?
You can start out by the coast for the Baltic pike, and then head further inland to rivers and lakes with different looks and sizes. One of the world's best places for pike, both in number and in size, must be the Ångermanälven.
I'll get it by hand, this one. Caught that fish on a red-tailed rat, fishing about 12 inches of 20-pound wire to some 15-pound island leader, a 9-weight floating line, and I chucked it out towards the reeds, worked it back just like a rat would be working on the surface, big swirl, another swirl, and he engulfed it, and it's good fun.
Here we are fishing in Sweden, and there's so many pike they're almost giving themselves up. We both have one on together. Come on, baby.
Go on then, that's it, you jump, you old bugger. Go on there. Give me another.
They had a fantastic time fly fishing this river, with endless opportunities to get the wild Esox lucius to leave its normal environment and instead fly up from the water to get that big irritating popper or rat imitation. The season for pike starts in the beginning of June and continues all summer into September. One thing that must not be missed is to try Lapland in June, where you can fish all night in the midnight sun. Not only pike will enjoy life when they see your spoon or fly in the middle of a night that is as clear as a bright evening. Another exotic experience is the challenge of the Baltic pike. Due to the brackish water, this is a high nutrient environment with a lot of hiding places for this hunter. The Baltic coast is just as perfect for the pike as it is for the pike angler. If you are going for the grayling and brown trout, you will find the best places inland, from the rivers and lakes in the forest region up to the mountain area. And if you want to try something very different, why not go for the Baltic grayling, or maybe try to fly fish for grayling in a forest lake with the use of a float tube. Patrick Daniel, journalist for the Belgian magazine Beat, visited Lapland during the World Championship in fly fishing.
Well, it's the first time I'm that far north in Sweden, but I must say the area is very pleasing. There's a beautiful landscape, a lot of beautiful lakes, crystal clear rivers, and a lot of fish in them. Nice sized grayling and nice trout. I really love it. I had a new personal record. I smashed my old record, which stood at 48 centimeters by 7 centimeters. Now the new record stands at 55 centimeters, which was a very good fish.
Today you've been out with Lars, who's a guide, and you've been out with a mad Englishman. So what sort of a day have you had today?
Well, it was a mixed day. This morning we were out on the lake in a boat fishing for brown trout, but they weren't very cooperative. They were only rising here and there, and then the wind came and they stopped raising. And then we had the afternoon, which was completely different. We went out to fish on a small creek, a crystal clear creek, with rapids and small still parts. And it's very good fishing over there. There's a lot of fish in it.
When you go back to Belgium and write up your stories, what will you tell your readers?
Well, I have done a lot of thinking about that, but it's still working up in my brain how I'm going to tell it. But it will be a very positive article. I'm very pleased with the fishing, the surrounding, the people, everything. It's very, very positive.
Patrick, thank you for coming to Swedish Lapland, and hopefully you'll come back again next year for the Lapland World Cup.
Who knows?
The best period for grayling and trout in Lapland is from mid-June to mid-September. The big hatch of mayflies in mid-June makes this period special, with the combination of the midnight sun and the signs on the surface that are like a drug for all dry fly fishermen. Even if Martin James loved to fly fish for pike, he has also shown that he knows how to get a wild brownie to go for a well-presented dry fly.
Magnificent. Now that's a good brown trout, that. That is a good brown trout. Now this is a fish that the English anglers love. Look at that, made by Walt Disney. One of the most successful patterns that I've found, whether I'm fishing spring creek water, fast riffly water, slow deep water, for grayling and trout, is the Python olive. It represents all manner of olive flies, and it catches fish from all over the world, Canada, North America, all over Europe, Britain. 2 years ago, I used one fly only all the season, a Python olive, and I caught enough fish to satisfy.
Probably one of the best periods to visit Swedish Lapland is in late June, when the annual event Lapland Fishing Festival and the Lapland World Cup is normally held. During this week, you'll be able to try Swedish Lapland and your favourite kind of fishing at a reduced price, and at the same time get a chance to join a fishing festival, including the Lapland World Cup fishing. This is a way to try out your skills in a new country with different kinds of waters, and at the same time join a festival where you'll meet up in a nice atmosphere and make a lot of new friends. The Lapland Fishing Festival includes a one-day fishing competition, Lapland World Cup Fishing, which is a very friendly and relaxed competition where you compete in one of two different events, fly fishing or pike fishing. At the end of the day, a prize award ceremony is held, and it ends in a gala dinner under the midnight sun. And if you don't like competitions in fishing, there's no problem. Just go and do your own fishing or watch the competition, and then meet up for the gala dinner in the evening. So what do some of the people that have joined the previous Lapland World Cup fishing think of the event?
If the man out there want me to win, I'll win. But otherwise, I'll be only too happy to drink a toast to the person who wins.
Yeah.
The pleasure is in competing and meeting the people. Winning is just part of the whole game.
Well, I'm fairly excited about it. To be honest with you, I've never been in any competition at all. But it should be fun, it should be somewhat of a challenge, but at the same time it's something that I really enjoy, the fly fishing, and so consequently it'll be a lot of fun.
So you just do the fly fishing?
Yes, I just do the fly fishing.
Nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. The great thing about angling is everybody's friendly with everybody else. We're a united nation of anglers. Now, if all the politicians throughout the world were to become anglers, there wouldn't be no problems in the world because they'd all be friendly like anglers are. Here at this competition, we've got anglers from Finland, Germany, Italy, France, England, United States, and other countries, and we're all having a great time.
The fly fishing is held in rivers with wild populations of grayling and trout. The rules are the same as in the World Fly Fishing Championship, with a focus on ecological fishing. The caught fish are measured and then released, and only barbless hooks are allowed. The pike fishing is held in one of the typical forest lakes in Lapland, where the pike are hardly ever disturbed by fishermen. You can choose to fly fish or spin fish, but only 1 3-hook or 3 single hooks are allowed. The pike will be measured by the controller and then released to the water. One of the people that has tried the pike fishing event in the Lapland World Cup fishing is Martin James.
So you lost a good one out there.
I know, I lost one, I lost a couple, but I caught a couple, so I'm not going to complain. It was good fun.
Yes, and the competition all over the day?
That's right, and I fished red-tailed rats, I fished big popping plugs, and I fished polar flies. And what was interesting, the guide this afternoon said, you don't want to use white colour flies, Martin, there's no white fish in here, use a black pattern. I changed over to a black pattern, first cast, I had a fish. And then just as you're filming me, I lost that big one. I saw the fish come up, hit the fly, big swirl, went down, and I thought, he's mine. But he didn't stay on.
No, well, that's how it is with fishing.
I know, but it's the big one that got away, wasn't it?
After one day's fishing, either in the competition or alone, it is time to gather for the prize award ceremony and the gala dinner. This is a time for friendship and stories about bad luck, good luck, and how the big ones always seem to get away. You will have a lot of new experiences to digest when you go to sleep after a week's fishing. Even if it can be very hard to sleep in the light nights of the midnight sun, you will probably find that there is no problem with the variety of accommodation that can be offered. From high-class hotels to cabins and typically Swedish cottages. Finally, we will let John Bodsworth give a summary of his first ever week in Swedish Lapland.
It's a wonderful country. There's endless amount of fishing here. You can fish for grayling, arctic char, there's pike, there's salmon. It's endless, and there are so many waters and rivers, and the people themselves, I can't remember having gone anywhere and meeting so many friendly people. They welcome you in, and everybody looks at everybody as equal. Doesn't matter whether you're a good fisherman, a bad fisherman, everyone's out there to enjoy themselves. Fun. And the most hilarious thing of all, I was drawn with a fin in a boat, and we fished in the weeds. I kept getting snagged up, he kept catching fish. So he loaned me one of his reed protected plugs, and he finished up at the end of the day. I caught more fish than him, but it was so funny, but he all took it in good part. Great fun. And I think that was the highlight of it, the friendliness of all the different nationalities.